To start?
Me?
No.
All right, I think we're live.
It says live for me.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Cool.
I got a
I'm just
notification.
gonna,
It's looking really crisp.
cool. I'm just gonna check YouTube really quick, make sure. But also, I've been watching a lot of Real Housewives, so this is gonna be like more indie. Okay, yeah, we're live. Okay, well, hi everyone watching. Welcome to the Survivor Time and Change Urban Legends reunion show. Oh.
We're good, Zach.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
me. Sorry, I could hear my own screen was playing audio to me, and I was like, "Where the hell is that coming from?" Anyway, welcome again, everybody. I'm your host, Zach. You saw me at the merge recap. I edited the season. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm gonna let everyone here introduce themselves and kind of talk about what's been going on in the last 5 years since Survivor Time and Change Urban Legends wrapped. Woo! I don't know if we just want to start maybe like Robbie and then like go in boot order and just talk.
Yeah, that works.
Pick it up.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, it says my name is Robbie. I got voted out second. And over the past 5 years, what did I do? I graduated. We went through COVID. That was like a great time. I'm sure everyone had a blast during COVID. Taking school during COVID was not fun, not gonna lie. I did not want to be in classes. Kind of fell into a slump. Now we're graduated though. We're here. We got our bachelor's in journalism, and we work for a DJ lighting and decor company called Party Pleasers, and we are the logistics manager. And I also DJ for them on the weekends. So I'm a wedding DJ, mitzvah DJ, party DJ, and I have a full-time job with them as well. And on top of that, go Giants. That's it. Next.
Carron, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, I mean, pretty much my Survivor time, I think I was voted out fourth, so I didn't get to spend most of my time with you guys. But for those who were following along a little bit there in the summer, I got to play 3.5, so I saw a lot of faces there. I think Ben, Kevin, Greg was obviously there. So I really wish that summer season was filmed as well. That would have been a good one. But no, for me, I graduated in the fall semester later that year. So I pretty much picked up and moved back to my home state, California. Spent the last 5+ years there here at home. Live with my brother, good situation. And yeah, just kind of been bouncing around a couple different like industries as far as work goes. Got a lot of really good experience in the sports industry, social media with like Rams games, Lakers games. And then the last couple of years, because of COVID, I had to kind of get more in like the sales game. And so I was doing recruiting work here in the last couple of years. So kind of brought that charisma to me on the sales side. And yeah, I'm just living life, hanging out. And that's what I've got.
I'll round out
Next.
the pre-merge boots. I graduated as well. I moved to Seattle, and I'm still living in Seattle now. I got my master's at the University of Washington. I'm a speech therapist now, and it's pretty much the big updates. Yeah, I'm in Seattle on the West Coast now as well, just like Carron. And it's pretty much it. I don't know, not anything too exciting, but yeah.
Okay, I think I'm next, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I don't have that much exciting things to follow up. So I majored in actuarial science in college, and surprise, surprise, I'm an actuary now. I had to take a crap ton of exams after college. I took like 8 in total, like hundreds and hundreds of hours. I had like no social life, like no life for like years, but I'm finally done with them, and now I can finally have a social life. And so here we are living my best life. So yeah, I'm still in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's my hometown. And yeah, that's where we are. So I think that's all I have to say at the moment.
I think that makes it my turn. So after playing in seasons 2 and 3, I hosted 4 and 5. You can check out 4 on YouTube. And then after I got done hosting and retired from that, I moved up to Cleveland. And Allison's with me too. You can come and say hi if you want. Yeah, she's right there. She still hangs out with me sometimes. And we've got a dog down here too and 2 cats. And that's pretty much as exciting as it gets on my end.
Then it's me. What's up? I'm Rachel. I live in Boston now. Any Survivor nerds that live over here, come hang out. We've got a nice squad over here. Since graduating, now I work for Special Olympics and got engaged to this kid. So life's pretty good.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm Hannah. I came in 4th. I graduated in 2020, right when COVID started. And then I did AmeriCorps for a little while. So I traveled around in my big van and dug holes. And now I work at the food bank and I live with my lovely girlfriend and our cat.
I am Nell. Did I play second or third? Or
Second.
is it all the same? I don't know. But second. Graduated May 2020 with a finance degree in public affairs, and then have been in banking ever since. I still am in Columbus.
Hello, I'm Juliana. To finish us off. I graduated December 2020. I did a year of service with AmeriCorps as well. Shout out Hannah. I was in a 7th grade math classroom for mine. And now I live in Cincinnati and work for a consumer goods company. So Kevin, if you want to get together, I didn't know.
Oh my God, we should totally hang out.
I'll text you after.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for going around and reintroducing yourselves. And Greg, thank you for answering the #1 question people had about you and Allison, if you guys even still talked anymore. So
We don't talk. We just share a house, you know.
But you don't talk?
No, hardly ever.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh. All right. Well, since Rachel has to go a little bit sooner than everyone else, I'm just going to start with like the question I made up for her. Because Rachel, honestly, I would say had her hand in most of the significant moments of the season, especially after the merge, and was seen as like this huge threat, which valid, very, very valid. So obviously you had a lot of decisions that changed the trajectory of the game, like, you know, flipping Jenna onto Josh, and then you and Greg were part of like Juliana's STA, and that kind of changed the game. And then you flipped on Autumn, and then you made your final 3 alliance that changed things. And so I guess my main question is, you made a lot of these big moves, but is there anything that you would have changed, or do you like regret any of the moves you made? Because there's a lot to pick from.
No, I honestly don't have any regrets. I feel like I made good decisions as I went. I put myself in the right spot. I got the votes that I was supposed to get in that vote. Obviously, Mel had a clutch ass move, and there's nothing I could have done about that. So I feel like I'm pretty proud of my game, and I don't think I would have done anything different. And I've got some good friendships out of that. Greg's come to visit in Boston, and it's pretty nice. I like being part of the squad, and it's nice to see everyone again. I did AmeriCorps too. I have a dog. You know, we can make all new alliances now.
And then the flip side of that is obviously I'm glad that you don't regret anything, because I think I honestly wouldn't either with the way you played. Is there anything that you're the most proud of from your time in the game?
I think I really played it the way that I lived my normal life. I don't think I was fake or anything. I am very loyal to my people. I picked Greg and I went with him forever. I picked this kid in 4th grade and I'm with her forever. I just feel like I played the way I would with my friendships and relationships. I think I was pretty honest along the way as much as I could be in Survivor. And I don't even remember the question, but it was great times.
Good.
Rachel, the correct answer is when you flipped the vase and caught it. That was freaking sweet.
That was amazing. I still remember that feeling. And Greg definitely was like, oh, really feeling himself that time that he lost. And it was just a great way to win another immunity, can I say?
I had the same idea and you stole it from me because I dropped mine. So I was a little pissed.
I remember you telling me after
Yeah.
that. You're like, I was going to be cool, but you were.
Do you have the
Alas,
vase
I
still,
never
Rachel?
am.
I do. It's in my room.
Bring that
And
to
I
the
think
club.
inside of it is my paper plate award, I think, from the reunion.
I wanted to change the entire intro for the finale just to put you kicking the vase into your hands as like your little like player thing. And I was like, this is too much work. I'm not doing it. Sorry, guys. Well, that kind of brings me into like a more of a group question. And one of the viewers submitted a question asking if anyone has anything that they regret, like any moves that they made or anything that they did that they regret in the game. So does anyone want to talk about something that they regret? I'm sure there's lots of regrets since only one of you won.
Can I say my entire game?
I'm right there with you, Kevin. Don't worry.
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes during my game, and I walked out of the season being like, "Oh wow, my game was so trash." But you know what? I made it far enough. I'm so glad I played, but even to this day, I think like, oh, I could have done that so much differently. I could have played so much better, and I don't know how much detail you want to get into that, but yeah. It was definitely my takeaway from season 3. Like, oh my God, and especially watching it back, like, yeah, I could have played better, but it is what it is.
Kevin,
Yeah.
let me ask you. So you played season 3.5 with
Oh
us, right?
yes, I did. I was the first person
Correct me
voted
if
out.
I'm wrong. I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't make it as far as you did in season 3.
Yeah.
Was there anything you did in season 3.5 that maybe you thought season 3 could have worked and didn't? So you really just have no idea how to play this game.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't played any Survivor since then, so and I probably will never play again. So it is what it is.
Kevin, we got to get you in a mini.
Give me in a mini. Oh, the redemption of Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin in 2023, who's 28 years old and has no hair anymore.
I think you're ready
Redemption
for
arc.
some redemption.
Maybe we'll see.
I mean, I obviously regret not playing my idol, but I think there's a lot of things that were mistakes before not playing my idol that led to that, mainly being trusting Jenna. But from what I understand, no one really knew how fierce and feisty Jenna was being. So I don't know if I'm to blame or her major is to blame, but yeah, I mean, it would have been great if I had played my idol, but that was not actually, I don't really remember whether I considered playing it or not. I don't really think that I did. But I had a lot of fun while I was in the game, despite what it might have seemed in my confessionals. I was having a lot of fun. I really enjoyed all the challenges, and it was pretty cool to find an idol. And I did go on to play some minis, and I did go on to go home with an idol once more. But I also won a few minis, which was pretty cool. So I guess learning is possible, but I mean, that's for sure my biggest regret is not playing my idol.
The only thing I would say is watching through the season, I wish I had been messier at tribal councils. Like watching through the season, I'm like, we need some drama. Like we were all just like answering very sedately. And at the moment, it was like so nerve-wracking already. But like watching back, I was like, I should have started like going crazy. So that's really the only thing I can say.
Hannah, the camera would cut to you with your face in your hands constantly.
It's hard to say like any regrets that I have, because I definitely have them, but I really didn't understand what I was doing. It was more so I had a lot of fight or flight activated during the show. And, for example, meeting with Jamie and Hannah alone made no sense. Why would I do that? Like, it made no sense for my game, because what was I going to say? Oh, I'll work with you. Like, I had no networking with them, no developed relationship with them. They just said, do you want to meet? So I met with them. And what else am I going to say? Oh, I want to vote one of you off. Like, no, I'm going to say, I'm going to vote the people I'm working with off. And then they took that, they ran with it. So if there's anything I regret is like meeting with them, not with like Mel or Luke or something like that. But I regret that. Maybe I regret just not having a social game. I think at that point I just didn't, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know how to socialize too well. So, but I did know how to think. And that's why I was on that tribe. Yeah, I regret just emotionally reacting a lot of the time, and maybe tone it down at tribal. That'd be great. So yeah. No, Hannah, disagree? You disagree?
It was so entertaining.
No, that was the
No.
best tribal. What are you talking about?
I cringe when I watch that, guys. I know it's entertaining, but like, to see that part, like that person that I was, it's just like,
That's fair, but it was iconic.
good. I'm glad somebody enjoyed my pain.
It was
I
brave
kind
of
of
you
wish
to
Robbie
watch
played.
it.
It was
I
great.
kind of wish Robbie played his fake idol, and then Greg was able to say, "Robbie, this is not a real idol."
I played that that through my head so many times in my head. Like I was like, oh, why didn't I just like flash it a little bit or something? There was nothing in there, guys. There wasn't anything. But if I would have made something and flashed it, I don't know.
That is my favorite part about the bag of tricks, is you can clearly tell it is a flat pouch. Like there was nothing in there, not even an attempt to make it look like there's something in there.
Oh man. It was funny because a week before, like during Christmas break, right before we started that, I went into my mom's room and I see this thing and said bag of tricks, and I'm like, oh, Mom, can I borrow this? I'm gonna plan to use this during my Survivor game or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, I planned that a week advance.
So wait, your mom made the bag of tricks? It wasn't
No,
something you made in
it was
your
something that she just had. I didn't make that. No, she just had it, and I borrowed it from home when I went home on Christmas break because I knew I was gonna. I wanted to use it. Yeah, I wanted to use it like as a prop. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. Enough of me. I don't know what I'm saying right now.
All right, Greg, Mel, Juliana, no regrets.
I don't really think I have any regrets. Like watching back, I played it the way that I thought I wanted
I haven't
to
got
play
regrets.
it.
I feel like there's lots, like almost every.
Every what? You cut out. You muted it. You didn't say the whole thing.
My audio is bad. Greg, are you talking?
Mel, do you want to try joining on your phone instead and see if it's any better?
Maybe text her that.
Yeah, I'm gonna text her that. But Juliana, do you want to anything that you regret?
Oh, I regret not staying in touch with more people after. I think that I felt like a little bit like awkward with, winning, and then I didn't know how people felt about things, but I wish, like, my parents watched the show and they're like, who do you still talk to? Like, who are you in touch with? And I'm like, I follow everyone on social media, but I'm not really like in contact with that many people. So play wise.
Nice background, Juliana.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you guys. I actually hung that up just for this. So that's not normally there. Normally that's in my closet. I'm also repping our shirt. It's a little tighter, but still got it.
I looked for mine, but I couldn't find it. I found the season 4 and season 5 shirt, but I couldn't find the season 3 shirt. So it's probably hiding somewhere in my closet, but I would totally wear that too if I could find it. Rep the season.
I like to say I just dropped off Hannah's like season 6 or 7 shirt to her before I moved to Chicago. So I know Hannah's got one.
It's the purple one. I got it.
Yeah, I think
Oh, Katie's wearing it.
Oh, cute. I'm glad it actually got used. It was sitting in my apartment for so long. I was like, I don't even know if she wants this thing anymore. Like,
I did. I love a free shirt.
Hey, I'm
Okay.
just surprised Greg's wearing a shirt at all.
Should I take it off, do you think?
No, keep it
No?
on.
I think it would be
Hey,
fitting.
we would have had so
Would
many
be
more
fitting.
views if Josh would have had his shirt off as much as I did. It would have been like double or triple. Nobody wants to see the Eastern European hair, but everybody wants to see the Baywatch boy, you know? So that was a big miss on his part.
Hey, he gave it to you for like 30 seconds. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Can't go around giving out free shows all the time, you know? Starts to lose its power. All right. Well, I want to go back to the beginning of the season a little bit. And Robbie, you kind of already answered part of my question. I was gonna say what was in your bag of tricks, but it's nice to know that it was nothing all along.
Yeah,
It was a good ruse though.
there was nothing in the bag of tricks. I don't know. There's nothing else to say about it. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say you played pretty chaotically, which you already said, but what were you intending to do when you started? Like, was it intended to come off like balls to the wall, or is it like you stood up on the first day and went, all right, now I'm crazy?
No, so here, this is a good question. I'm not inherently crazy. I didn't come into the game expecting to be crazy. I came in, I had that first meeting with Vinny, and really what happened in that was he had more charisma than me. Like, I didn't understand that at the time. I didn't understand how to process a person with that much charisma. When he was already older than me too, so like he just had a personality. I'm a freshman, right? I come from a background from Youngstown, Ohio, inner city. You know, I'm meeting new people. This is the first time I'm actually going out of my way talking to, you know, new people, and it's someone like Vinny who plays poker, right? He's a poker player. You know, he's just like this charismatic, you know, really good at maybe hiding intentions. I couldn't get a read on him, so I just flagged him as a threat, and that triggered my fight or flight. So because of that, it brought this part out of me where I was just like always on defense. And fortunately, at least for that first vote, Mel, I was able to grab Mel, or not grab Mel and Luke, but I had my alliance with Mel, and then Mel had Luke, so we were able to like use my hatred or not wanting of Vinny to like, you know, to get me through one round. But like when he was gone and there's no more scapegoat guy, like, hey, we did get him out, then it's like, oh, that other guy is me. I'm the other crazy one. I'm the other quote unquote threat. So no, I didn't have a game plan. I didn't know how to play. This is my first time playing. The only Survivor I had ever watched was I watched the first season of Survivor Time and Change, and then I watched 3 other seasons. I binged them like 2 months before, and that's it. So I didn't really know what I was walking into, to be honest. I had no plan. And what you saw was me reacting naturally to the game and what the game brings in my current state of like, you know, maturity and emotion and stuff. So yeah.
I will say in your defense, Teratibu is the craziest tribe I think STC ever assembled.
Yeah,
like you
I'll
weren't
take
the
that.
only crazy one there. And I was gonna say if Mel comes back in too, but it's so nice to have the 3 of you here because you guys are probably my favorite starting tribe in STC history. It was a joy to watch all your guys' footage for the first 2 weeks and watch you guys spiral.
Yeah, just overthink the crap out of everything, man. Oh my god, like that's probably the most stress I ever had in college, like right next to exams and stuff. Like, no, yeah, it was fun though.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Hannah, any word on your Teratibu days?
Honestly, watching it back, like that was, I thought that was the most fun. I don't know what it was. I think it's just because there were so many people like in the game. But we were so wrapped up in like the 4 of us. Or 5, I don't even remember how many there were. But like that first vote when I almost went home, that was like a big wake up call. I was like, oh wait, oh my God, I have to like do things. But that was definitely fun, just like how much we scrambled and Luke and Jamie and all that mess. I know.
I think one thing that I wanted to add is that I did come into the game knowing that, you know, I had that alliance with Mel. I knew I wanted to play very loyally. I didn't have any intentions to ever flip on Luke, which is why I was like confused as to why why I couldn't keep him. But watching it back, it made more sense. But in the moment, it really felt like it's just me, Luke and Mel against the world. And that's what I was going with. That's what so I thought I had, oh, we got the numbers. I don't gotta worry about anything. Power trip, etc. So yeah. Repeat the question so Mel can answer too, if you can.
I was just gonna say, Mel, if you wanted to say anything about your time on Terra Tibu.
Oh, that was crazy. Flight or flight the whole time. Everyone was crazy. I was like, I think I led the charge on that. I was so paranoid. There's a lot. That was such a heartbreaking vote, seeing Robbie leave, and I wish I didn't have to do it, but I knew like if I had to like be together with this Terra Tibu in the end and have numbers in the end, I didn't know what else to do. I was like, I made the decision in tribal.
All right.
Wow. That's
Greg,
crazy.
I was gonna say, Greg said he can only be here for a couple minutes. I just wanted to let him like come on in and speak and say his piece.
Oh God. Hi. What's up, guys? Oh my God, this is
Mr.
crazy.
Friedberg.
Yeah, I only have like 5 minutes, which sucks, but I kind of said, if you guys watched the finale, I said my piece on there, kind of talking about just what you guys all mean to me. I want to say I'm thrilled for all that Zack and Jake put together to finally tell all your guys' story. You guys put so much into it, and it was so much fun to watch it back. I hope you've been having fun watching it just as much as I have. I honestly, it was just, I had forgotten so many of the little things. Like, I remember Carron texted me early in the season, was like, dude, the McDonald's confessional. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have no idea what you're referring to. And like little things, Rachel was texting me during the season too. And I'm like, oh my God, there's these little moments that you just forget about. The big things, of course, I remember, but it was just so great to see those little ones. This was a huge memory for me. I hope it was for you guys. Juliana, what's up, dude? I told you that this would be out before the time you graduated. I'm sorry that it wasn't, but I hope you had fun watching it back. Like, holy shit, it was, you had a hell of a ride. Yeah. Wow. And Mel, holy shit. Watching Mel and Hannah was so fun. That whole dynamic behind the scenes versus as a viewer was just so interesting to me. Because as a viewer, I had an absolute blast watching you guys play this game. So anyways, to you guys, because you're here, congrats on like having your story finally be told. To Greg, to Kevin, Robbie, and Ben. Ben, we're in the same city right now. I hope I see you at some time in the next month. Yeah, just super thrilled that you guys are here. I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to shut my mouth. But hey, thanks for everything.
Thanks for coming, Greg. And this is Toby. Speaking about like it being like 5 years, when someone submitted a question like, how awkward was it to watch yourself as like a college student 5 years later? So did anyone feel awkward, or was it just totally fine and cool and dandy and it was the best experience of your life?
I guess I'll answer. I thought I looked pretty awkward on camera, not gonna lie. I mean, I got the whole like Kevin from Up confessional from Autumn, where apparently I just have this striking resemblance to that big bird from Up. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually so perfect. Because like I had no idea I moved my head that much, like in conversations. Like I was like, what the hell am I doing? Even before she mentioned it. So I was like, oh my God, it's so perfect. And like my hair would stick up too. Sometimes I was wearing blue and I got voted off. I'm like, oh my God, this is so perfect. But like, I definitely got a little bit of secondhand embarrassment when I like watch myself on camera, because like, I'm not naturally like someone who takes a lot of pictures of themselves, record themselves a lot. So I don't know. It was still fun to watch myself on camera, but yeah, I got a little bit of awkwardness just watching myself back on camera. So that's my response.
My internet is a little shaky, so if I get cut off, let me know. But I completely agree. Like, even though I won our season, when I heard that it was finally coming out, like, I got like a stomach ache. I was so nervous to see like how it unfolded, like how people are going to be portrayed, because like when you joined like the organization, I don't think most of us like were really joining it for the fact that we wanted to be like YouTube famous or have it like be shown to random people online who have Survivor Minecraft channels. Like, that's not why we joined. Like, we joined because we wanted to play. We either were Survivor fans, or, you know, for me, obviously I harped on it a lot and I got a little hate for it. Like, I wanted to like make new friends and make connections, and it sounded fun. Like, competing in challenges each week sounded fun. I think ultimately it helped me grow a lot to become like more comfortable speaking on camera and like, you know, putting myself out there and being vulnerable. But like, watching yourself back from 5 years ago in like a time capsule, that is an emotionally vulnerable thing. And like, even if you don't regret your plays, like, it is still like, oh my gosh, each week I feel like I was into it. I was super excited, but before like it came out, I was like super nervous.
I also think it's really interesting that, oh, sorry, Greg, you can go if you want.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say I have to go. But one thing that made me really happy, Greg and I were texting earlier this week and still are, because we take like 3 days at a time between our texts. But Greg was watching himself back, having friends watch, which was so, I would love to hear. I'll watch this back later just to see like what your friends' reactions was. But I hope you guys had fun in that way, like realizing where you were 5 years ago, because like I'm less of an asshole now. Little do you know. And like, I would love to know what like Greg's friends thought of him when it like from 5 years ago. You're probably so different. So yeah, you guys everyone's changed in the past 5 years, but it's crazy. It's awkward. It's crazy. And just watching it all back has brought back so many memories of like how different we all were, how much we've changed in the past 5 years. And that's what Survivor does, guys. It changes people. It was so fun to see that. Anyways, I have to go. That's why I interrupted. I'm sorry, Hannah. Take the stage. Bye, guys. Have so much fun at the reunion. I'm sorry I can't stay. I'll watch it back later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. No, I was saying was it was really interesting how it was like a period piece. Like, you don't think that we dress very much different in 2023, but like some of the things I was wearing, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, especially like the chest piece shirts, like every time I would wear that, I would be like, oh my God, what year is this?
I loved your make empathy great again. That was my favorite fashion statement one.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, there were just some things that was like, it was a different world, you know?
I think I whipped and I dabbed at one point, and I was like, that is disgusting.
Robbie's water bottle challenge, absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yikes. I think for me, one, Zach, you did a really good job at just like throwing me in a bunch of different random cuts, because I made a lot of faces. So that was really cool to see. I cringed, but like at the same time I was like happy, because like, oh, I'm in all of this. I'm in so much of this. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm grateful for it, but it was very cringy to see myself and the angles that I had and all the different faces and reactions I had to stuff. So yeah, kind of cringy, kind of nice.
All right, moving along here. So we're just gonna continue. I was kind of like gonna ask things more like in order of how the season went, so we can talk about like big moments and like things that were happening early on. So Carron, my question for you was about your game. And your game was very much, at least from the footage that I watched and edited together, was like, I'm gonna make alliances on the other tribes. And then didn't really, I mean, I knew you had your connection to Taylor and that was kind of going, but you didn't record. I don't think you submitted any meetings besides with Taylor for the first 2 rounds. So what was the idea on making connections on the other tribes instead of with people on your own tribe?
Well, first of all, shout out to McDonald's, still my favorite restaurant. And a little bit like contrary to what Juliana said, I mean, of course, I got into this and all of us got into this to meet new people, have a lot of fun. I've always said my dream job was to be like an actor, and I really wanted to be on Big Brother. So I was trying to like maybe use this a little bit as like a highlight reel. That didn't get too far. So I am glad though you brought up like talking to other people, because on my episode, that was kind of like the big push was, oh, Carron's like talking to everybody else. And even looking back on it, I kind of, selfishly thought of it a little bit differently, just because, the first person I reached out to was Vinny after watching season 1. Thought he was a cool guy. Just wanted to like talk to somebody. I knew he was also kind of like on the chopping block that week. So I just kind of wanted to like be a shoulder to lean on potentially. Never met with Vinny. He was actually voted out before we had a chance to even meet in person. So that was like everyone said, like, don't just hit somebody up on Instagram, because like I think someone was re-looking at it and was like, oh, Carron only follows Vinny and like one other person on Instagram. So that was definitely a mistake. And then 2, the Robbie one, because I actually only met with Vinny, where I didn't meet with Vinny, but I only reached out to Vinny and Robbie. Robbie this was I think after he scraped his leg on the pavement in one of the challenges, and I saw him at the basketball court at the art pack. And at this point, Arshan Donna tribe won both the first 2 challenges, but then also like got like a second place or something. So we never had to go to tribal first 2 weeks. I knew that Vinny went to tribal, gone. Robbie went to tribal, he ended up being gone. But we really only met just because we were, like we said, Knicks fans at the time. And we just thought it was cool. Again, like I thought Robbie was a cool guy, have fun, make a confessional, and that was it. And then when we finally lost a challenge as a group, the way that I kind of saw it, my intention was just to go for the returning player at the time. And I thought, in my eyes, that would be like an easy vote. Obviously, as you guys saw in the season, everyone just kind of like did exactly the opposite. So it's hard to say if I had like any regrets or anything that I thought did really well, because we really only went to tribal one time, and that was it for me. So of course I would have loved to have just played more, just to get to know people, have fun being on camera. I thought that everyone watching the show would have really enjoyed watching me as a character. But all in all, I mean, there were some little things like when you look back on it, I mean, like even my friends would text me and be like, oh, that girl's a bitch. I was like, yeah, I know. But I mean, at the end of the day, I did make a lot of friends. There wasn't any like bad blood. And even like crew wise, I'm friends with a lot more people who are on crew than even this season. So I think, like Juliana said, not really following up with people who are on your season, that kind of sucks sometimes. But no, it was still fun. I think Greg Friedberg, after the season, created me like not a highlight reel, like a demo tape to submit to Big Brother, like for that next season. I never got a call, but anyways.
Has anyone else?
Yeah, I should play again.
Has anyone else applied for like Big Brother Survivor in the past? No. I've applied 3 times, so maybe 4th time's the charm, guys. I'll try it. Okay, well, does anyone here think that there's someone who should be on like the real show, like would actually be good to watch on Big Brother or Survivor? Or anyone from the season?
I would like to see Rachel or Autumn on Survivor. I think they would both kick ass and be fun to watch, and I would be fully rooting for both of them. Especially like Rachel with those challenges, I know she'd be running that island.
Dang, nobody. Well, I agree. I think Rachel would be a shoo-in. Also, Hannah, come on. Putting you on an island.
It would be good TV. It would be good TV. That's all I'll say.
you would be amazing. You're also like, I don't think you watch Survivor still, but you are such like a modern Survivor casting type. You would be great.
I see all of your tweets, so I feel like I understand some things.
I feel like you do great.
Thanks. Maybe
All
one.
right.
Keep watching.
If you need help with the highlight reel, I got you. Okay. All right. We're gonna keep moving it along to Ben, who knows his question before like I even get there, because what else am I gonna talk about? So can you just walk us through, like, I don't even care about the idol play. I want to know what you thought about your relationship with Jenna before vote out, after vote out, and then I don't think did you even watch the edit really?
I have not watched a single episode.
I was gonna say, what did you think about Jenna's comments? But she actually didn't really say anything that nasty. It was mostly just like, you're exhausting me. But I mean, talk to us about like your dynamic with Jenna, or if there's like anyone else that, because I'm honestly, most of your confessionals and chats were with Jenna. Is there anyone that you wish you would have put stock into instead of Jenna, and maybe things would have gone differently for you?
I think, well, before I talk about Jenna, I guess I was kind of the opposite of Carron. I was like really scared to talk to anyone that was not on my tribe. Because I thought that would be like, I don't know, a huge target or like disaster. So I wish I had talked to more people that weren't on my tribe. I know 5 years ago, and now I'm sure we would share the same, but like at the time, I really, really wanted to talk to Mel. And after the season was over, we kind of talked to that. We had the same feeling, but I was just like, I was so scared to reach across tribe lines that I was just like, I guess we'll just see if we both make it to the merch. That clearly didn't happen. But no, I'd say with Jenna, well, so like, I don't know, on our starting tribes, I feel like me, Jenna, Rachel, and Greg, I felt really solid in that alliance, but from what I understand, Jenna maybe didn't feel that way. And like I said, I have not watched that, so I don't know fully her insight, but I did like, I felt some amount of like, I guess, animosity after the tribe swap from Jenna. But I didn't think it was to the degree that would like cause her to flip on me or like rally people. I also had no idea that she knew Autumn, so that was another factor. Because I thought that I had at least a decent relationship with Autumn. But clearly, I mean, I would have done the same if I had known someone on the cast before. Like, I would have done the exact same thing that Jenna did. So that was a factor too, that I didn't know that she knew Autumn. So I didn't know that she had that number basically automatically. And I mean, there was, I don't know whether it made the edit or not, but I was anticipating, I was going to have Jenna sign my like idol thing. And that didn't happen because she had to study. But I also like, I didn't feel like I was asking her to meet too much. Like I asked her to meet maybe, I think twice between like our challenge and tribal. And like once I asked her to meet with Kevin and once I asked her to meet alone. So I don't know. I didn't really feel like it was that bad at the time. Clearly she felt differently. And I honestly, I have some regrets from the game, but like, I don't even think now that I would read it any differently. Like I feel like she just had a lot on her plate and was really stressed about a lot of things. And I guess I just asked one too many times to meet, and I would still ask just as many times now to meet. So I'm not gonna say that it would go any differently now. But I did not know the degree to which she was annoyed with me at all. I wish I had talked to Juliana a little bit more, because I felt like, I think we only talked one time, but I really enjoyed our chat. And I wish I had not trusted Kevin more, but I wish I had valued Kevin more. I feel like I did not value Kevin as much as I should have. I'll be honest. I feel like I was like really, I mean, I was not cocky in the game in general. I was actually very anxious and not confident in the game in general. But when it came to Kevin, I feel like I had an attitude that like Kevin was a GOAT and he'd hang out with us, but I feel like I should have valued his vote and him as a player a lot more, because we could have done something. I mean, Kevin and I could have made a plan. I could have played an idol if I had worked harder and been more aware, but it is what it is. And I've played a lot of summer seasons and minis and all of that kind of stuff, and I feel like I've redeemed myself enough. So yeah, aside from when Greg voted me out first in the Survivor mini way back in early COVID, but that's fine.
That was messed up, Greg. That was messed up.
That was really messed
Talking
up.
about the Big Brother one that
I don't
Pete
know,
hosted.
whichever was.
Yeah, you voted me and Ben out first and second, back to back. That was
really
nasty.
That's all
messed
Richard and Tanner. They were just like, "Oh, it'd be
Um,
funny." I was like, "Yeah, that would be kind of funny."
Yeah, that was really messed up, but
That was nasty.
that was nasty. But yeah, I don't know if I really answered the question, but I was not aware that Jenna felt the way that she did about me. I think I knew that she was annoyed to a certain degree, especially like because when I texted her and asked her to meet up to sign my like little idol paper thing or whatever, she basically responded was like, "I have to study. Are you joking?" And I was like, "Whatever."
I will say too, the thing that's funny about Jen and I try to like get that point across is that like she was meeting with a bunch of people who weren't you, and then she was like, "I don't know why Ben wants to meet. I'm so busy. I've been doing meetings. And it's like, Ben doesn't know that you've been meeting with everyone else on the tribe. Like I think you even said it in confessional, you're like, as far as I know, she's met with me and Kevin, and that's it. And it's like, unfortunately, that's not the entire truth.
Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not too mad at my performance. Like I said, I had a lot of fun in the challenges. I feel like I did pretty well in the challenges too, at least at a tribe level. Pretty proud of myself for finding an idol, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I also want to say, did you mention this to me, or did I make this up, that like you and Mel wanted to have an alliance, but like it just never happened because you never talked to each other?
We never talked about it during the season, but after the season, correct me if I'm wrong, Mel, but we talked after the season. We're like, definitely, I don't know. I feel like we would always like look at each other at challenges, or like before we'd even be recording, like when you guys would be giving us the rules and everything, I feel like I'd always be like looking over at Mel. I feel like I just got good energy, and like I said, I was like too scared to reach across tribal lines, so that never happened. I don't know. What was your experience, Mel? It's okay if you did not have the same one.
I agree. And we met in our like interview process, so I already had good vibes from him coming in, and thought that eventually we'd come together and work. I found out about you being voted out way too late to do anything about it, but sometimes I like think back of the alternate universe if I would have said something.
Yeah, but I mean, also no one knew that I had an idol, so it wasn't, or I don't know. Did anyone know that I had an idol? I don't think so. Because I didn't get any. I think I needed 2 signatures. I don't remember. Was I even able to play my idol at that tribal if I wanted to?
Yeah,
I
you
don't think I was. Okay. I can't really remember the stipulations.
Yeah. Nobody knew about yours. Nobody knew about Luke's. Neither of you ever asked anyone to sign them.
I thought it had to be signed for me to play it though.
It had to be signed so you could extend its power. It would have expired at Final 7.
Oh, okay. See, I don't remember anything about how it works. So.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? That's all good.
Okay, well, that's fine. So I could have played it, but I didn't tell anyone about it. So that's fine.
Well, speaking of valuing Kevin, I think it's time to value Kevin some on this reunion and talk to him. Kevin, I had a lot of fun with your narrative.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
When I was editing the season. I mean, we saw you struggle, and then we saw you kind of get back into it, and then we saw you struggle, and then we saw you get back into it, and then we saw you get blindsided in what is, I think, the funniest reaction to a blindside in STC history. I don't know.
I'm proud of that reaction. I made my moment right there for the whole season, I think. So no, I would not take that reaction back. I'm not embarrassed by it. It was well deserved, is what I'll say about that.
You and Hannah's shocked faces, and then Mel was shooting daggers at Greg. Like, I had to do that zoom in on your face, Mel, because you were literally like I thought you literally like would choke Greg. Like, you were so mad. I loved it. That tribal was a favorite of mine to edit. But I want to say, obviously you knew you were on the fringe a lot. Like, how was that feeling? Because I feel like a lot of people, like, they usually are like, oh, like, I feel like I'm in an alliance, but you kind of knew you were on the peripheral for like most of the time. So, I mean, did that wear on you, or was it kind of just like, you were like, well, I'm gonna keep trying? Like, what was it like?
That's a good question. So, I knew, like, from the very beginning, I really was not in an amazing position, like, really at any part of the game. Like, from Kaidi, like, I was not calling the shots when I thought that people were voting out Greg. I did not call that shot. That was not my choice. And, you know, it turns out that I was definitely not in a good position on Kaidi after the Nora vote, because I was the only one who did not vote for Nora, except for Nora. Though, like, if I had been told about the Nora vote, I would have voted for Nora. Yeah, so I definitely was not in a great position on original Kaidi, and so I knew I was not in a great position after the Nora vote. And so from the swapped tribes, like, I thought I was screwed, like, right after the swap, because I thought, like, the two Teratibus, the two Shindanas were to go after one of the three Kaidis, and I was, like, obviously at the bottom of Kaidi, so I thought I was screwed after we lost the challenge. And I just got lucky that that Jenna and Autumn knew each other, so we kind of did the 3 and 2 against the Teratibus, which worked in my favor. But I guess to answer the question, like, I never really thought that I was in an amazing position in the game. The best position I really felt in was actually right before I got voted off, because the way I saw it is that it was like me, Hannah, Mel, and then it was Greg and Rachel with a 5, and then there was a 4 on the other side. And so had things gone my way, you know, we could have gone with that 5 for a bit longer, then get rid of Greg and Rachel, and then, you know, move on and have a Mel, Hannah, Kevin final 3, which would be amazing. But unfortunately, that never happened. But, you know, after the whole Nora vote, I knew that I wasn't in a great position with Greg and Rachel. I knew Greg didn't really trust me that much. I had that sense. So I think I even said in my final words, like, I wasn't that surprised when I got voted off. I was surprised in the moment, but, like, thinking about it a little bit, like, yeah, okay, he probably didn't trust me very much. Greg and Rachel probably didn't trust me very much. So, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but I guess what my answer is like, I kind of knew I was never really in a great position in the game. I tried my best. It didn't work out, but it is what it is. I made the merge, and I'm happy about that. So,
yeah. Greg, do you want to comment on that vote at all?
Yeah. So it really wasn't a matter of not trusting Kevin as much. It was more not trusting Mel and Hannah, because I remember that week, I mean, I pushed Jamie hard in several votes, but that week specifically, because if I remember right, that's the week of spring break, and she left the day after the challenge, or the day of the challenge, was gone the entire time, and then showed up like 2 hours before the tribal. So I was like, there's no way she's got another idol. I mean, I don't really worry about idols a lot. Obviously, every single confession, I'm like, people are like, oh, do you think they have an idol? And I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter. But so I was really pushing Jamie hard. And then we had a meeting right before the vote, because it's right before I scrambled with Rachel and Autumn to try to figure out a way to get it off of an Autumn vote. But it was me, Rachel, Mel, Hannah, and Kevin. And I just got this feeling like those 3 seem like they're starting to get a little tighter. That's not really good for me and Rachel. We kind of need to figure it out. So it really wasn't anything with Kevin. It was more with Mel and Hannah kind of, you know, starting to see through the cracks of that alliance a little bit. And with everybody else already voting for Kevin anyway, that was the easiest thing to do, was just me and Rachel flip, make sure we've got our ducks in a row, and kind of move on. And it still keeps sort of the secret threat alliance moving on and kind of going from there. So it wasn't really anything against Kevin. It was more just the circumstance kind of pointed arrows at him, and we kind of took that bait.
One of my favorite what ifs from the season is just if you guys had let Jamie go, and just because I honestly, I wish Taylor was here to answer this question, because Taylor was very go with the flow, but a lot of her confessionals were very, this is going to be my move, is when I have this 4-person line and we flip on Greg. And of course, by voting out Kevin, that like neutralized her entire plan. So I'm very curious though to see if she actually would have like gone through with it. Cause I don't know, it was all she talked about from like the merge to Kevin's boot was like, I'm going to join this alliance and I'm going to flip. And then that didn't happen. And then she said, I'm not going to make any other move in the game. I'm just going to hang out and have a good time, which I mean, she had all the information, but.
That seemed like the moment that she went from being in with Mel and Kevin and Hannah to kind of jumping more with the Juliana train and sticking with Juliana. I feel like that was kind of the moment in the game where she sort of chose her side. Obviously, she had toes in the water on both sides, but I feel like that was when the commitment to Juliana really was like, we're going to the end together for those two. But obviously, Juliana could talk about that too.
No, I agree with you. I think we vibed from the beginning, but I feel like at that point, we really were like the two of us. And like, once we kind of were starting to get feels on like Autumn, and we weren't as like certain, because it was like the three of us, and we weren't as sure about that. I think that kind of like cemented our relationship.
Juliana, did you know that Mel and Taylor had a relationship and that she was like in this kind of pseudo alliance? Because there was never anything where she told you, but it seemed like after a certain point you kind of knew.
I think so. I honestly can't remember though.
It's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. She never like tells you on camera, but around like the time that Autumn, around the Autumn vote, it seems like you kind of know that Taylor's working with Mel somewhat. So I was wondering if she had told you or not.
It's possible that I spilled those beans because I saw Taylor and Mel walk out of a meeting right before a challenge, and they kind of looked at me awkwardly. And I was like, guys, it's not a big deal. Like, people meet with people, it's the merge, whatever. But I think they both felt a little awkward by it. So I probably went and just was like, just dishing the scoop to everybody. Like, oh yeah, I saw them meeting, like not a big deal. But I mean, maybe that's how that kind of spread a little bit. So sorry.
All right. So after Kevin got voted out, we had an all.
Hey, wait, Zach.
Greg. Oh, yes. You want to share something?
Kevin, I don't know if I've obviously been texting you for a while. I don't know if I showed you this. I still have your note that got you voted out.
I think you sent me a picture, and I'm still on it. You still have that.
It's
I'm glad
all
there's like a
crumpled.
little piece of like Survivor SEC legacy. Like, it's like my little Ghost Island thing.
It is. Yeah. This is a true relic. One of few in STC history.
No.
Should I read it, Zach?
Yeah, go for it. Go
for it.
So it says, I wrote this in the dead period after I called Rachel up till the buzzer, and I was like, fuck, we got to make a plan. So this is the plan. I am good with voting for either one. I will say I am worried about losing Juliana and Taylor's trust if we vote out Autumn. I can see a situation where Mel, Hannah, and Kevin use Juliana and Taylor at final 7 or 6 and vote us out. Or they just wait till final 5 and there is 0, underlined, chance we stay in. Flip me over. If we vote Autumn, we will be more solid with Mel, Hannah, and Kevin. We would just need to be proactive about our situation in the game. I trust you 110%, so I will trust your judgment. Just think down the road too. 1 tap equals Autumn, 2 taps equals Kevin.
Greg, also, did you ever consider just voting out Autumn and keeping her extra vote she gave you? Because you never mentioned in the show, I'm like, that would have so crossed my mind, is vote her out and take the extra vote.
Yeah, 100% I did, but I didn't feel like that was going to help Rachel and I a whole lot, because in the situation where it goes Mel, Hannah, Kevin, Juliana, Taylor against us, what's 1 extra vote, even if we had even if we had Jamie somehow. So I was like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to just steal it from her. She would have been really pissed, and I didn't really think it would help my game a whole lot. So I opted to not, and then I gave it back too, because I'm just that kind of nice guy,
That was very nice of you. And someone asked, how did you feel about all the girl power? Because it wasn't this season, I will say, it was never like all the girls were like girl power, we're voting out the guys. It was literally just like the way the alliances and strategy fell was that the guys kept getting voted out, which I think is hilarious. And that's why I love this season in the first place. But how did it feel to be the last guy and the last returnee?
Yeah, I mean, it felt good. I mean, I played in season 2 and kind of played a similar way. Allison was my closest ally. I don't know. I just have a thing with women, I guess. But no, it was cool. I felt like it wasn't really a preset gendered thing. I just feel like the people that I ended up settling in with were Rachel, obviously, Autumn, Jenna at one point, and then Juliana and Taylor got close with us. And then obviously Mel and Hannah at the swap. Like, it just worked out that way. I really wanted to keep Josh for a long time. Obviously, he thought that I was just bullshitting him, and I wasn't. So like, that's kind of how the cards were played. It wasn't really on purpose. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really think it affected a whole lot. Like, I don't think anybody was looking at votes going, oh, we got to gang up as girls and get out Greg and Kevin or anything like that. That's kind of what happened. And I felt solid with with who I was, in alliances with, and I felt like communication was good. So at that point, what does it matter, Plus, all guy alliances are kind of lame. So
True. An all guy alliance this season. Oh, no. But how did you feel about being one, like a returning player, also being the last one? And then, I mean, your game in season 2 is good. So how do you feel like your season 3 game compares to how you played in season 2? Like, do you feel like one's better than the other? Are you more proud of one? Like, take it away.
Yeah. So to tackle the first question, how does it feel to be the last returner? I mean, it's fine. I didn't like Autumn seemed to care about it a lot more than I did. She had a lot of, just like watching it back, a lot of confessionals like, oh, that'd be really cool to be the last returner. For me, it was like, once you get past the first few votes, you're not really a returner. Like, you're playing the game, So being the last one, like, I think Greg told me, like, you got to record something saying you're the last one. And then I did, but like, it wasn't really that big of a deal for me because there was just stuff going on that you needed to take care of in the game currently. But then compared to season 2, I feel like I played fine in season 2 also, but I think I'm more proud of my season 3 game just because I felt like I was a little more aware of what was going on around me in season 3. Like in season 2, I knew that I was going to get votes when I got voted out, but I kind of was just like, fuck it, we're going to take a risk. Whereas this time around, I expected to go out right away. So I was just like, we're going to have some more fun with it, see what happens. And then ultimately I get past the Nora vote and felt a little more solid with my people. And then we get past the swap and I felt solid again. And then it just kind of snowballed. Getting past the merge vote was a big one because Josh and I were deemed like the biggest threats or first to go or whatever it was. And then, once it just kept moving, I just kept feeling more solid and more solid. And so I think that was pretty cool. And I definitely had better relationships with everybody left in the game. Like obviously Mel and Hannah were gunning after me, and Rachel down the line, we were kind of gunning after them even after we were aligned. But like, I never felt like I didn't like them, like we were all friends. Whereas I feel like in season 2, like I had no relationship with Stephanie. I had pretty minimal relationship with Jake. I really didn't have a relationship with Alex. So I kind of branched out a little more in this one. And I think it helped me go farther too, because nobody wants to vote out their friends. So my strategy is just be friends with everybody. Like it's way harder to vote out people you like being around, So it worked until final 6, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, Allison has something to say too.
Surprise guest appearance. The funny thing about Greg being the returner for season 3, fun fact, y'all asked me first. And I remember sitting there and I was thinking, like the most fun part about season 2 was working with him and that friendship. And I was like, if I return for season 3, like it wouldn't be as fun because I wouldn't work with Greg. So I called back and I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Right away, they called Greg instead. And they're like, y'all were like, do you want to do season 3? And he said, yep.
I said, yeah, do you have a tall curly headed brunette I could work with? And they said, yes, we do. And I said, I'm in.
Yeah. So
I am so in.
What
and then
a dick.
Now Rachel and I are best friends. So yeah.
Allison 2.0 would have been a legend, cutthroat, super strategic, super social. It would have been terrifying.
I would have been good. Like I did nothing in season 2. I would have been great, but no, I was thinking about him instead.
Imagine her playing a whole time where she actually knows what's going on. Pretty scary thought. Just throwing it out there.
It would be unstoppable. I also think, talking about like the returning, I think Tyler was asked to play too before Vinny. I don't think Vinny was the first choice.
Yeah, I definitely know I was like choice number 6 or 7. Like, I feel like you guys went through basically every single person. I feel like Kelsey and Allie were asked. Well, maybe not because they were on crew. I don't know.
They weren't asked because they were on crew. I know Allison was asked, and I know Tyler was asked.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know if anyone else was asked before you, Greg, that I know of at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I only found that out. Oh, I knew that Allison got asked. She said no. And then Greg called me and I was like, yeah, sure. But yeah, I do remember Tyler being asked. I'm not sure who else would have. Shulman, maybe.
Oh my God, Shulman.
But yeah, I mean, I'm glad I did it because had I not played season 3, I certainly wouldn't have hosted seasons 4 and 5. Like, I don't even think I applied for crew after season 2. And then I had fun with everybody in season 3 and was like, fuck it. It'd be fun to do it some more. And then ended up hosting. And yeah, now I'm here.
And having a lot of great nights at Taco Bell.
So many great nights at Taco Bell. You don't even know. And I got a concussion from you when you slammed that door on my head in the Uber going to Union. So
Yeah, and
Was that
and I
before or
low-key
after
gotta-
he killed the rat?
that might have been that might have been the same night. That might have been after. Yeah.
No, we didn't go to Union. We went to Formaggio's.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, then I don't know. Same
With
summer.
Ryan
though.
Hudson.
I
Yeah.
think it was the same night that he killed the rat.
You guys are nasty. Nasty.
You're the rat killer.
And that's why I killed you both in 5.5. All right, moving
Needed
on.
to happen.
Moving on. Well, I want to say on the Greg vote, Juliana, I know that was like a really big vote for you personally. And I don't know how much it came across in confessional, but you definitely were weighing it out. It was like weighing heavily on your mind. So what was it that actually made you vote out Greg? Because up until like the day, even in your like last confessional before going to tribal, you were like, it seemed like you were still kind of thinking about like what to do. And you and Taylor talked like right before going to tribal. So like, what was it that really kind of pushed you over the edge? Like, was it Taylor? Was it your own thoughts? Because I wasn't 100% clear on that when watching the footage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but like in my post like vote confessional, I like get choked up a little bit, and I was like watching back and I was like, whoa, that's awkward and weird. But I think it was really getting down to the wire. Like when I first joined the season, I don't think that I really was like, I'm in it to win it. Like this, I'm going to be the sole survivor. I was like, you know, I'm going to have fun. We're going to see. I didn't think it was at the merge that things kind of, was like, okay, I should get into it. Let's get into the strategy. Let's do it. Then obviously STA, I was like, you know, I need to really like, if I want to stay in the game, make it count, I need to make a move to define myself. And so I think that was the vote for myself, where I was like, if it's Greg and Rachel in the, final two, or I don't think at that point we knew it was going to be a final three, like it's just not going to, I don't know if they'd keep me around or how that would work. Because I know they're very loyal to each other. So I think it was just like time. I think I even said I had to put on my big girl pants. And so, yeah, it was a hard vote for sure. I think Greg was a really loyal friend, and like the Autumn and Greg vote, those two were very hard because they were loyal to me. They were kind to me. They, trusted in me. And so that, I know I kept saying, I'm loyal. But I mean, like ultimately it gets down to a point where if you want to win, and I think it was that point I was like, this is in my favor to do that. So yeah, it was a hard vote. And I think ultimately I just decided that that's what, if I wanted to get to the end, that's what I'd have to do.
I think Juliana was plenty loyal too. Like she caught a lot of shade in the final tribal for not being loyal, but you can't take 7 people to final 3. Like you have to vote people out eventually. So like I wasn't butthurt that you voted me out. Like I wasn't like, oh, she stabbed my back. Like it was me or somebody else. Like there's no other choice, so.
I mean, like ultimately you guys were so good. That's why it had to be the way it was. Like you and Autumn were both great competitors. That's why it had to be the way it was.
It make me blush. Yeah, well, I'm glad that move kind of worked. It's like how I wanted, because I figured that Mel and Hannah, like, what is their pitch going to be? He's a threat. We need to get him out. We have the votes, like, obviously, right? And so it's all strategic. There's no, like, I don't know how to combat that, because I think I was the right move at that point too. So like, I can't be like, oh, it's in your best interest to do something else, because it wasn't. So I'm glad that like, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of pull at their heartstrings a little bit and see if I can weasel my way into final 5. Like, I think I even said in my meeting with you, like, you don't even need to take me past final 5. I just want to be in the finale episode. Cause then I figured, oh, maybe I can squeeze my way to final 4 and then maybe to final 3. So I'm glad that I gave you a run for your money, but
yeah, evidently you did. You really tugged at
right.
String. So, and I appreciate on the YouTube comments your one room film, whatever your number 1 fan is. I don't think they gave me too much hate for that. So
yeah, no, I would like to go on the record. That is not me. I might know who it is, but it is not me. So yeah, put the hate to them, not to me. But yeah, I'm glad that you cried, because I think Hannah also cried too afterwards.
Okay, well, I didn't say I cried. I didn't say
I heard that you cried. That's what I heard you say just now. Is that you had tears?
I choked up. I coughed a little.
You choked on your tears. Yeah.
I had a mental breakdown on the floor. All right, so I think I win that round.
And then Mel literally waved goodbye. I don't know if you caught that. When you're walking away, Mel goes. which is so funny. That had me cracking up, Mel. I was like, she was so happy that day. Okay, moving on to everyone's favorite cockroach. There she is. Hannah, I would say, I don't know if people feel this way, but on the first, at least people who did like crew and stuff, in the first 4 seasons that we produced, I think you might be like our biggest underdog ever. Like, you survived so much that you shouldn't have. Like, you were almost first boot, you were almost the swap boot, you were almost the merge boot. You should have been voted out 5th place. Like, your name came up so many times. So how did it feel to be, I think in your last, maybe in your last confessional, you were like, I'm getting constantly put, like, Survivor's not about taking the top of the hill and keeping it. It's about like fighting your way up and then getting knocked down again and keeping to fight, like keep fighting your way up. So like, how did that feel? And how does it feel seeing like a lot of people responded positively to your story in the game?
Yeah. I guess like in the moment, I was just really wondering like why, like what it was about me that had people keep like writing my name down. So it was really interesting to see the other side, like watching the season back. And I do think, I don't know, it just makes for a really good story of constantly getting votes. And like sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I weaseled my way out of that one. And yeah, I mean, like I didn't know a thing about Survivor when I started playing. So like it wasn't a surprise, the first couple votes. Because I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, it is just really interesting watching back and being like, oh, I wasn't crazy. They were like gunning for me all the time. So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of an out of body experience, like watching that from a third party perspective. But I did use a lot of big words. I'll say it. I did. So I understand that can be a little off-putting. Sometimes I would be watching my confessionals and be like, what the fuck is she talking about? She's just talking. So yeah.
It was so hard to make the narrative, because basically everyone's perception of like you and Mel, as you know, is like you guys were like kind of paranoid and crazy.
But we were always right.
But that's the thing, is like every time that you guys would be like, oh, like da-da-da-da-da, and I was like, oh, here's another contestant's confessional saying exactly why they aren't crazy. So this probably isn't going to be received well by the viewer.
That was definitely really funny because at the time I felt crazy. Like I felt like so and I'm sure Mel could back me up. Like we were like, we have hours and hours of fucking confessionals of us two just being like, and here's what we think is happening, and here is every single conspiracy theory possible. So like seeing that most of them were real, I don't know.
I feel like the only time it wasn't valid was the Jamie boot. Like they
oh yeah, we were crazy about Jamie. I don't know what we were thinking.
Like you guys were like, it's us. And Greg and Rachel were like, no, it's actually Jamie. And you guys went, it's us. It's us. It has to be us. Yeah. And then maybe before the hour before the Kevin boot, it was a little like paranoia, but then it actually ended up happening. So, you know.
Oh my God.
Happened.
Yeah.
That was more of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, what's paranoia and what's a response to our paranoia?
Very fair.
I feel like I got a cutie pie edit, so that's all that matters.
Well, it was hard to not make you a cutie pie, you know. It would have been really, that was the thing too, when like you got voted biggest bitch in touchy subjects, people were like, that's weird. I was like, there wasn't any foot. I think one of the reasons is that you and Jenna's like Kyle Snyder match, like yeah. you were throwing elbows, and I couldn't like, I showed it because you can definitely see times that you're like literally elbowing her.
I definitely.
And I think Jenna, and obviously Jenna, people didn't know that Jenna was being nasty behind the scenes, but like people were like, Jenna's so amazing and sweet and kind, and nasty Hannah was throwing elbows at sweet Jenna. And like, but nobody talked about it in confessional or anything. I just know from like postseason, people were like, yeah, Hannah was throwing elbows and that was really weird. And that's why we voted her for bitch.
That's true. I did. Yeah. Watching that back, the Kyle Snyder challenge was super weird. Like that was a miserable day though. I'm sure all of you can back that up, but
I'm pretty sure Jenna got a bloody lip on that one. I think that was the driving force behind the bitch vote.
Did she actually get a bloody lip?
I'm pretty sure she was bleeding because it was pretty rough between you two for a minute.
I think you're right. That was also a little fun fact about me. That was the first time I ever had exercise-induced asthma. Like I couldn't breathe for like 12 hours after that. So, you know, I was also wounded in action.
That challenge also too, I like was not confident at all in anything I was doing like the entire game. And that challenge was the only time that I ever had any like the ounce of delusion that I needed to do better in the game. Because when we had 1 point left to lose, like there was one more point that the other team needed for us to lose. And I was up against Josh. Part of me thought, I can win. I was like, that was the amount of delusion that I needed to do better in the game that I had in that like split moment before I just got absolutely rocked. I really thought for a second, I was like, if I just play it right, I'll beat Josh. We all saw how that went, but I wish I had more of that.
An underrated nasty moment in that challenge too is when Kevin's literally on the ground and trying to stand up and Greg just runs over it.
How can you do that, Greg? I want a rematch, by the way.
No, thank you. You probably beat me.
Maybe these days. I don't know.
Season 3 Redux. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
guys, how fun.
Yeah, that's actually my answer to the like anything you wish you had done differently question. I wish I had been more delusional. I think I was like suffocatingly realistic about my chances. And I think a little bit of delusion would have helped.
Self-fulfilling prophecies, Ben.
Yeah. I truly did enjoy all of the challenges though. I think I was a little bit delusional during all of the challenges. I was really convinced that if I made it to the merge that I'd be like an immunity beast, which is like not, I don't think that would have been true, but I really, really believed it. So.
All right. I was gonna say one more thing for Hannah and Mel. You guys are such a good pair. What was it like watching back your pairing on camera?
You want to go first, Mel? I've been talking a lot.
It was so fun. That's probably my only time that I cringed the whole time watching the show, or like even every time I talk to like shut up. But being with Hannah, like the memories of being together and like, I mean, we went through it, like being on Teratibu, being on as many votes as we were, where we felt like we were in the bottom, like just like, and it's funny, there's so many people said like, oh, this person keeps meeting these people. I think we probably met like twice a day, every day. At least.
Yeah. We were constantly talking on the phone, constantly texting, like,
and it was like no bother at all. I'm like, yeah, I have an exam in a minute, but yeah, let's take it.
Yeah, and I do think like that story too is also, I don't know, because like those first 2 votes we didn't really work together at all on Teratibu, and then just as soon as the swap hit, we were like, all right, we're gonna be best friends now. And I don't know, I just feel like that taught me a lot about like myself and about like, I don't know, like first impressions and that kind of thing. And it was like, I don't know, it was very nostalgic to like watch all of our meetings back and be like, oh yeah.
It just warms the heart.
Yeah.
It actually was, when I started editing this, I forgot that you guys were not on the same page for the first like 2 weeks. So I was watching the confessionals and stuff and I was like, wait, this is so weird. I don't like this. Like,
no, yeah.
Like hug. Let's come together. Okay, well, now moving on to your question. So, I mean, you and I have talked about this like over the years, obviously, like we became friends after the season. Obviously, Jake is like my bestie. So the reaction to you at FTC obviously was like not very positive. And I will say, I did cut out like some of the negative stuff towards you because I didn't want it to be like so obvious that Juliana was going to win, because Josh's speech went on for a while. And I cut out one of Greg's anti-social moves against you. It's some of the more negative stuff. So I just wanted to say, on the flip side, people who have been watching the show obviously have really like loved your story and loved your passion. And that's something maybe other contestants didn't get. I mean, people could tell, but didn't see like how much you were putting into this and how much you cared about the game and everything like that. So how has it felt seeing like, there was such negative reception to you into the game, but outside of the game, people had a lot of love for you. Like, how has that experience been?
It's been interesting because watching the game, I'm now see what other contestants were seeing. At the time I was like, what did I do? Like, how did I rub everybody the wrong way? But now watching the show, I'm like, oh, I really didn't make connections like everybody else seemed to be making. And so it's an interesting, it's nice to hear that now on the flip side, but I also I regret about not focusing more on relationships. I think so many people did in the game.
That's fair. Is there anything about your game that maybe looking back, you were like, I shouldn't have done that from
I shouldn't have met with Greg before voting him out. Felt really bad about that. Watching that whole episode, I was like, why did I do that? A lot of the conversations, one of the conversations with Rachel, shouldn't have taken that meeting. I was way too tired. There's so many meetings that I wish I would have been more open to, I guess. I came in with my plan for the game or my thoughts on the game, and I wish I would have started from more of a place of just meeting people.
Good introspection. I like that. And someone submitted a question that was, after every finale, there's a party afterwards. And I clipped it. If you didn't watch all the way through, I clipped in a little bit of the season 3 finale party at the end as a cheers to the end of STC's first generation. But I think you and Hannah could probably speak the most on this, but what was it like being in a party where there was people who were definitely salty towards you, and it was the game ended, but people were still acting weird or salty? Because I know that Jake has told me there was a time where you knew Josh was talking shit about you 5 feet away at the party, and you were like, I'm right here. Did you feel, I don't know, did you feel supported otherwise? Was that really hard, or was it weird, or what was that like for you guys?
I don't know if you can tell, but I didn't see the final tribal going the way it did, really. So I feel from the moment it started to the end of that day, I was blacked out. I couldn't tell you my memory of any of that time.
I feel from my perspective, obviously I wasn't in the final tribal, but there was a lot of that vitriol. I felt the crew was always very nice to us and very much not on our side, but you guys are cool, you guys are good, even though other people don't like you. So I was as long as the crew thinks we're fine, then we're fine.
Good. I hope everyone felt supported by crew throughout the entire process, because and especially for your guys, I know this jury was I think this is probably SEC's harshest jury in the first couple seasons that I did. There was definitely a lot of more negativity compared to the other seasons. So kudos to all of you, even you, Juliana, for weathering that, because I know people were still throwing little things at you, and that's to be expected, but it is hard to stand up there and try and argue your case when people are especially if you weren't expecting it. So good on all of you. And so I wanted to ask kind of the reverse question to you, Juliana, then. In the game, you received very positively, and I know we've texted a little bit about fan response hasn't been as positive, which people, I think we talked about that. People are definitely looking for more strategy in these college games versus a social game. So how has it been watching yourself as a freshman 5 years ago? First of all, your game, and then how has it felt with that reception?
I think that's a great question. So if I'm being honest, I know I kind of posed as a Survivor watcher in my confessional where I talked about watching Rupert play and meeting him, but I did not grow up really watching the show after I was 6-7 years old. I kind of stopped watching it. So, and I also had not watched season 1. So I did not bring the strategy and gameplay that I think some other players did. But I also think that fresh perspective ultimately helped me solidify my relationships and prevent some of that paranoia and overthinking that a true Survivor fan might bring to the game. So I think that's why I don't have that same kind of mentality that a true Survivor fan would have. But also watching myself as a freshman, it's very, that's a stage in life I think a lot of people wish they could forget. So even though ultimately it did work out, I think that it still is like an experience where it's like, oh, I can tell I was like trying to be funny here, or like, you know, I said some stuff that I probably, you know, wish I wouldn't say. Like ultimately, like I'm proud of the experience and like what I gained from it and like learned about myself. As everyone has said, it really, like, you just grow a lot through the experience, even no matter how long you're in it. Yeah, so I would say it's just been interesting. I think it's been really fun also for my parents to watch it. So they started it like a few episodes late, but watched it and caught up, and it's been fun to see their reaction, talk through it with them. I don't know if any of you guys have like family members watching it, but it's like kind of fun, like those people who went like 5 years ago when you were playing, you were telling them about things, and then like if you watched it with them, hearing their perspective on it, I think that's been fun. Shout out to my mom and dad. Hi, I think they're watching. And then also shout out to my friend Hannah. I kind of wanted to answer Greg's question because I thought it was a fun question from earlier before he had to go. But I was an RA in Mac Hall with my friend Hannah. She's friends with Jackson, and she was watching the season back with me, and it was really fun. We kind of like rekindled our friendship over watching this season. We had kind of lost touch, but she was friends with Jackson, was like into the show. So I felt like that was super fun. We're going to watch season 2 together. Like I said, I haven't watched season 1 or 2. So Greg, Allison, I'll be watching you guys. So I'm excited.
Please don't.
I'm excited that like, I feel like watching this season back has kind of actually made me like, I want to watch the next season of Survivor. I don't know when it comes out. I'm going to watch it. Like, I feel like it's kind of gotten me excited for it. I don't regret not watching it before I played, though. I think ultimately it helped me with my strategy. So long-winded answer, but yeah.
No, you've been waiting 5 years for this, so talk as much as you want.
My mom literally was asking me about like every year. She'd be like, have they edited the season? Have you texted them? Can you text Greg and Zach? She like knew you guys by name. I'm like, I'm not gonna ask. Like, I don't care. I don't want to see it. Like, it's fine. Like, you know, it ended well. So she's very happy to watch it.
Good. I hope she enjoyed it.
Oh my God, she loved it. Both my parents loved it. So she's a big fan of yours.
Good. Oh, I'm glad. Did anyone else's like family watch it at all?
My mom has been asking for 5 years when I was coming out, and I did not tell her. So
okay. If there's 5 people in the chat that say release this to Ben's mom, I'll do it.
I also told her at the time when I was playing that I wasn't allowed to tell her how I was doing. She like thought it was like a big secret. So she actually doesn't know how I placed on the season or like anything about it, because I don't know. I was like weird and insecure 5 years ago and like didn't want to tell her. But yeah, so no, they haven't seen it. But she actually finally stopped asking like a year ago. So I kind of feel like it's ship in the night now.
We'll send it to her.
Okay, you can do that.
And then I guess there's only 3 jurors here, but obviously a lot of people were like, oh, I don't understand why Mel won. And I'm glad you guys kind of touched on Mel, like you kind of said like, oh, like watching it back, I kind of realized some of those things. But watching it back and seeing like everyone's like confessionals and meetings, would anyone change any of their decisions? I honestly feel like the answer is no from what I've seen, but you guys can say if you considered it or not.
The big thing on my end was when Mel played her idol, I knew that her and Taylor were working together. So then like, I don't think it really had as much impact on me, because right away I had the question of like, oh, did Taylor tell her that they were voting for Hannah and that's why she played it that way? So I kind of wish I thought that was just totally Mel's move right away. I feel like it would have had a bigger impact, and maybe that could have swayed my vote a little more, because then I had to wait, I don't know, however many, another week and a half or whatever to get to the final tribal for then I think Jamie asked like, what was the deal with the idol? And then she told us, and I was like, oh, okay, like that's a pretty good move, but it doesn't have that same impact as watching it like live, you know? I don't know if it would have been enough to change my vote, but it would have been another plus in the Mel column, obviously on my end, I think, had it been a little bit more impactful, because she voted out my #1 ally. And I think at that time, Rachel was the favorite to win. At least that's how it looked like, you know, on tape and when I was playing. So But yeah, that would have been about the only thing I think that would have changed it for me.
So I wasn't on jury, obviously, but I kind of wanted to, it just made me think about this question. I kind of wanted to reverse engineer the question. If Hannah had been in the final three with Mel and Juliana, because I don't think Taylor got any votes, do we think that there would be any changes? Do you think Hannah would have gotten any votes at all? I wasn't sure because I wasn't part of the jury, but watching it back, I did feel like Hannah's game was strong enough to at least get, a couple votes potentially.
I'll jump in here. I definitely would have considered voting Hannah. I can't, it's so long ago, but I feel like I probably would have voted for Hannah because I feel like I knew, I worked with them for so long and kind of knew all the different times they sort of weaseled in and out of different situations and stuff. Weasel is kind of an ugly word. That's not what I meant. Like, sneak in and out, not negative. And I felt like I had a really good relationship with Hannah during the game. I met with her initially after the swap and we really hit it off. I really liked meeting with her. And I felt like we kind of maintained that relationship. But then on the flip side, Rachel was the one that met with Mel when we first swapped. So I never really had that one-on-one with Mel. And I feel like Hannah can really like sell herself. I mean, you saw her in her confessionals, like she's a theater kid. She knows how to get up and put on a show. And I feel like that would have really helped too. I don't know if it would have been enough to sway anybody else, but I think I probably would have voted for Hannah, but it's tough to say, this long ago, or that long ago.
I'll jump in. I will say I probably vote for Mel no matter what, because she and I were pretty close during our short time together in the game, and I really respected her strategy because I got to know it pretty well during the course of our conversations, and I was really impressed by her idol play at Final Five. So I still vote for Hannah in that situation, or sorry, still vote for Mel in that situation. My perception is that the jury at that time viewed Hannah and Mel very similarly. And they did not view them in a very favorable way, unfortunately. So I would guess that the way the jury votes would go, before Greg made his input there, would be I would vote for Mel, then everyone else votes for Juliana. But that's totally my guess. I don't know what the other jurors would do, for sure.
It was. Oh, sorry. You can go, Zach.
Oh, I was just gonna say, from watching the footage, I feel like the people who were like 100% locked for Juliana were always going to be Josh and Autumn. Like, I don't think they considered voting for any of the other finalists. I feel like Jenna would have been a toss-up. Like, I don't think she was super strongly in anyone's camp. I think she leaned Juliana, but I think she would have respected the game and voted for, based on the FTC and everything like that. And I think she did do that. I think she actually went in like listening. Jamie was a wild card. Even if you watch the episode, Jamie at the voting booth is like, I didn't know who I was going to vote for. So I think and then Jamie and Hannah had more of a relationship than Mel and Jamie. So like that could have been different. Rachel, I think, was leading Juliana, but I think could have had an open mind. And Taylor, I think, would have voted for Juliana if she ended up on the jury. Taylor that was your girl. That was your girl. I think having Hannah there would have been interesting, but I don't know if it would have changed the overall outcome.
I don't think that it would. I mean, I'm biased because I'm me. But I was just surprised because like time really like sands things down, I feel like. And I was just so surprised watching the final tribal. I was like, there was like some vitriol in that room. And like, especially Josh, I forgot like some of the stuff that he said. And I was just kind of shocked because like in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, it was fine. What happened. It was all good. It was all fair, which obviously it was still fair, but it was almost exciting to be like, oh wow, there was like some real spitfire in that conversation. But I do think Mel and I were perceived like as two parts of a whole, kind of, from my perspective.
I think that's valid.
I don't really want to.
Disgusted by I don't remember what word you used.
I don't remember either. I can't believe I said that. I'm sorry. I think I was like shaking with rage. I was like, be nice to my friend Mel.
I was like, dang, I know I didn't meet with you guys often, but dang.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what came over me. So sorry.
It's okay. We're cool. We're cool.
Can I just say, as someone who wasn't on the jury, I don't remember exactly what she said, but one of my personal favorite things from the whole season, like not having any of the post-merge experience, is at the end of Tribal. And I don't know exactly what she said when Taylor basically was like, I guess vote for me if you want, and then just sat down. That was like, as someone who had absolutely no stake in the game at that point, I was like, if I had been on the jury, I probably would have voted for her at that point. Like, I would have been like, I was obsessed with that response to the final Tribal.
It's also crazy because Taylor's game is good. Like, if she had argued, well, like, if you give Taylor's game to someone who's a better speaker, they could have won. I really do believe that. Like, Taylor had all the knowledge post-merge. She could have changed everything. And I feel like she could have tried to claim more stuff than what she did. She basically was just like, I won challenges, guys. And I was like, your game was so much more than just challenges, but that's how it is. Like, the game is really lost or won at FTC. Like, it's not really over till it's over. But okay, moving on from the FTC, I just wanted to ask, watching the whole season back, obviously Ben, I know you didn't watch, but everyone else I feel like kind of watched at least most, if not all of it. Was there anything that surprised you in terms of the like strategy or like what was being said in confessional? Like, I feel like there wasn't too much, but I'm sure there is. Obviously, it's when it's more personal, there's things that you kind of go, oh, like that was crazy.
Personally, I love watching those early Teratibu votes. I think that was amazing because you hear about it as a player and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, you know, like that's crazy. You're like, you hear like, oh, bag of tricks was thrown out. Like, what? You don't really get it. But watching it was just like incredible. Hannah, I thought you were so funny in the beginning. I was like seriously cracking up. It was just like seeing everyone's reaction. Those early votes, I think, was super fun that you just didn't get to experience as a player.
I feel like for me, the only time that I was like, oh, wow, was for the David vote, because I remember pushing that we should split the votes, because I thought that they were going to split the votes too. And so I felt like we were fine no matter what. And then I think it was Hannah was the one, her and I had a meeting one-on-one, and she was like, this is why it won't work. And I kind of wrote it off and was like, I really think it's gonna, because I felt like I had Josh kind of in, not in my pocket, because I felt like we were going to work cooperatively. So I felt like he sort of had that same mutual interest. And again, like I said earlier, he obviously didn't. And so I'm glad that Hannah kind of scrambled and made a switch, because then when the vote happened and it was 4-3 or whatever, I definitely had a little egg on my face. And that was kind of my wake up call. Like, okay, there is stuff going on behind the scenes, because it's very easy to get complacent and just be like, oh, I know what's going on, so I'm good to go. And then I think after that, so I think it just helped moving forward, sort of having a wake up call that ultimately didn't end up hurting anything. It worked out, but like had Hannah not spoke up, we would have been toast. So
that's one of my favorite editing tropes, if you couldn't tell, was Greg going, there is no possible way Hannah is going to get 3 votes, and immediately cutting to David going, so we're going to pile our votes on Hannah. Like, I love just absolutely making everyone look silly. And it probably happened to most, if not everyone, at one point during this season. I was just like, oh, you are about to look so silly, and it's going to be so funny for me.
And what's up with that, Zach?
Because it's funny.
I love the David vote so much. He was talking mad trash, and I had no idea any of that was going on.
Was he drunk? Like, he was like eating ice cream and was just like, so I saw a side of him. I had like working with him on Shindana. He was just so laid back, charismatic. And I feel like as a person, he was kind of like, you know, a little bit more introverted, put together. I was like, I feel like that man had a few beers before this.
I think if David had stuck around, he would have been a villain. Like, he kept getting like more and more cocky, and like his confessionals got more villainous, and then he kind of got like,
I did not see that side of him. That was fun to see as well.
I will say, I think I'll actually watch now after today. I'm actually intrigued. I was mostly not watching for selfish reasons. I didn't want to relive the trauma, but I'm actually intrigued now, especially hearing like what apparently Jenna said about me. I'm very, very intrigued to know exactly what was said. There also was like with the David vote specifically, I remember that was the only time that we like got to the next challenge, and I was actually surprised who was gone because I didn't know that was going to happen at all. So like, it would be nice to like go back and see what was really going on. So you might have another viewer, Zach.
You'll have to text me your thoughts.
I will. It'll probably be mostly about Jenna and
Carron,
myself.
since you were out so early, was there anything, I mean, we texted about it a little bit, but was there anything that you were surprised by? Because I remember you saying like, oh, I don't really remember what happens after a certain point. Like, was there anything that you were like, oh, wow, like I didn't realize that this is what went into a vote or whatever?
Well, I think first and foremost, like, I don't know how you guys feel about actually the season releasing after 5 years, but it actually was a really big relief for me to watch it after 5 years because I don't really get like that emotional about things as I used to maybe at the time. I mean, at the time, like I was upset and I was bitter for sure. And then you obviously, as you know, the years go by, you forget about it and you don't have any sort of feeling. But when I like watched it over again, like you definitely go right back to that same feeling that you have like when you get voted out or something bad happens to you or whatever the case is. And now watching it back this you know, now it's like you become a fan almost in a way, as opposed to just watching yourself, especially being out so early, right? After I got voted out on, I think it was like episode 3 or 4, you start to like see people, all these confessionals that you never saw yourself because they're not going to release it to you. And then you start becoming like a fan and rooting somebody specific on, or really like hoping that this specific person goes home each week, right? So it definitely does bring you in and keeps you engaged. For me, watching it back, no, I wasn't surprised about anything. There was nothing that I like could do or change because I think Zach said it right. Like I didn't meet with anybody in my tribe the first 2 weeks. We were all very comfortable. We won challenges, and once our tribal week came up, I think I met with everybody except Juliana, actually. And I just tried to pit a vote because I knew if it wasn't going to be the person that I was going to go after, it was going to be me. I think that was made pretty clear. I was like the loud mouth. I think I said it a couple times in the season of the group. But after I got out, like people usually say that they hope whoever on their tribe goes on to win. Juliana obviously went on to win. But I probably wouldn't have said at the time that I wanted any of those people to actually win. So, yeah.
Is there anything that you experienced in the game that didn't make the show that you wish would have been shown? There's only one thing I wish I would have shown that I ended up cutting for time. And I'll say it after everyone else speaks because I don't know if people will know what it is.
I have a pretty obvious one. Is it the one that you're thinking of?
I think it is. I think we
Okay,
texted about it.
I'll wait then. Yeah.
Honestly, most everything made the cut because there's no time limit. I can make the episodes as long as I freaking want them. The one storyline that got cut from the YouTube product that I wish I left in was Big Star Scandal. I think it's actually genuinely so funny. There's like little hints of it in the edit because originally I had edited it in. And then when the FTC originally was like 50 minutes long and I was like, oh my God, I have to cut this. So I ended up cutting the Big Star Scandal from Greg's final speech. And basically, if you don't know what it was when Jamie gets voted out, Mel and Greg meet. And Greg tells Mel, I'm going to star my vote for Jamie so that you know that I'm the one, I voted for Jamie. And Mel leaves and immediately texts Jamie and says, well, yeah, you better vote for Greg because he said he's voting for you and he's going to put a big star on it. And so Jamie texts Greg and says, you better put a big star on that vote, and scared the shit out of Greg. And you can kind of see like there's little bits of it in the episode. And obviously there is the big, like your vote comes out and Jamie hugs you. And it comes up a little bit later, but I ended up like, that's the only storyline I cut out because I felt like too obvious that Jamie was going to go home after that because of like things that were said in confessional about it. But yeah, I do regret. I should have just made it obvious Jamie was going home because everyone kind of suggested it anyway in the comments. And I wish I had left in Big Star Scandal because it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I just thought it was super funny. And then I just remember being like, you know, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. And then I was sitting next to Jamie. So I was like, I don't know if she's going to like turn around and punch me or if she's going to like think it's funny. So I was like, whatever, we'll just send it and see what happens. And then, yeah, she thought it was funny. So I thought that was kind of cool. But I was a little scared for sure.
We haven't talked about
It was a
Jamie
lot.
enough in this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we say like she was a wild card? Like she was fun to watch. I think it's hilarious at the end, like her and Autumn were like vibing during that like final tribal. It's just like, oh my gosh, she was wild.
My
Can we
favorite
also
thing
just say,
no, you go.
I was just gonna say behind the scenes, Jamie. Is this what you were gonna say, Zach?
You
How many goddamn questions Jamie asked before challenges, and we'd run like hours late because Jamie's asking like about every single possible scenario that could happen. And
then she still wouldn't follow the rules.
And then she still wouldn't follow the rules. And I feel like you could see Greg Friedberg getting actively like pissed off. And we're all just sitting there, and it would be like midnight in Knowlton. And Jamie's like, actually, I have another question. Like specifically the block challenge on the steps.
Yes,
that
the block
challenge. Oh my God. I mean, what did it take us like 3 hours to finally actually get it done?
I'm pretty sure I remember getting home at like 3 a.m. for that one. Cause I think we
Yeah,
started
there
at
was-
like 11 and then there was the fake
Yeah.
challenge maybe before that. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, that was the
And
fake
then-
challenge
All
night.
breaks,
Yeah.
fake
Yeah. And then, yeah, it
challenge,
just took forever.
Yeah, and that's not to say at all that all of that time delay was just Jamie, but it was like every single challenge. She had so many questions. And I
Her during
never once met with
challenges-
Jamie. I did not meet with her once at all in like one-on-one to meet, but I can only imagine what it would have been like based on that.
That was my main reason to target her. I was like, this is too annoying during challenges. She'd always be the one talking to, and that distracted me. And I was like, I gotta get rid of this kid.
and always looking for clues, always looking for hidden idol.
Jamie is such an interesting player because she seemed to care so much in challenges and the idol hunting, but she did not care for talking and meeting strategy, or like her confessionals are literally a minute long. So it's actually like I saw someone did a confessional count for the season. I can share it with you guys. Jamie's confessional count is actually crazy high compared to what I thought it would be because her confessionals are so short, but I guess I was just getting the fucking mileage out of them. But Jamie's an enigma. And the only thing I know is that Jamie knows that this aired because Sydney texted her that it was coming out. And Jamie's only words at all on the project were, "Oh, I was so in my villain era." And that's all she said about it. Definitely has not watched or anything. She just said, "I was in my villain era."
I think I have a lot more appreciation for Jamie 5 years removed.
She's much more interesting to watch than I'm sure it was to play with her.
It was infuriating, and I didn't even actually really play with her. So
Her, when she got voted out, her like outro was so funny too. She was like, it sounded like really sweet, like, you know, like started out really like sentimental, and she was like, "But I'm graduating and I don't care, and I'm never talking to any of these people again. Bye."
And now she's in Greece and we're all here. Good for her. Good for her. Okay, what was everyone's favorite part of their STC experience? Was there any, like, it could be during the season, before the season, after the season. Was there any part of it that you were like, this is the best, this is the best?
I can go.
I was kind of curious.
Go for it, Carron.
I was just kind of curious we all felt it and in the moment, but in the party after the finale, we all had our superlatives, right? And I was just curious, like, now that looking back on it, does anybody feel like their superlative? And if you're gonna like answer, I guess just if you remember it, say what your superlative was. Does anybody feel like that's still like defines them perfectly, or definitely not at all anymore.
It defines me.
Greg, 100%.
What were they?
Want to go first, Greg?
Sure. Yeah. Mine, I still have them. They're in this little cubby back here. Mine was something like most likely to pick a brunette girl to make his number one ally, and then have them make them farther than him or something like that, which is pretty much just, that's how I roll. I'm just like, you know what? Everybody else can just beat me. It's fine. I'll be the loser of the group, and it works out. So I think that fits.
Yeah, I think mine was most likely to have no idea what is going on. And yeah, fairly accurate. So I'll stick with that.
I don't remember what mine was at all. So I don't think, Zach, do you have any idea what mine was?
Girl, I had 6 of these. And the only one I remember.
Wow, you had 7?
The only one that I remember
God.
is season 6. Allie's superlative for me was or least likely to recycle, and I still take offense to that to this day, and it's extremely inaccurate. I don't really remember. I know Greg's season 2 one was about hummus.
Yeah, mine was most likely to be found in the hummus aisle at Kroger, because I'd bring them to every tribal.
I think they're on the hard drive I have here for like the season 3 ones. I could look really quick while everyone chats and see if they're still in here.
I actually don't remember what any of mine were. I guess I'll answer Zach's question. I would say, like, my favorite overall part of SCC, and I guess I should have mentioned this when we first started, but I did crew for the following 2 seasons after season 3 as well, and I absolutely loved crew and grew really close to Zach and Greg and Hannah and a bunch of other people too. So like overall, that was my favorite part of like the STC experience. It was so much fun. And I still talk to a lot of those people like all the time, even though I'm out here in Seattle. But yeah, so that in general. And then I had a lot of fun in the like summer of 2019, like summer season. Even though I went home with an idol again, that was just like, I feel like that was kind of a culmination of a lot of our like kind of Survivor time and change experiences. A lot of people graduated in 2019, so that was a really awesome kind of like retrospective, everyone coming together and playing. And then I'd say my favorite experience like in actually season 3 was the like bucket challenge where Robbie fucked up his knee. I feel like Kaidi really, at least my memory of it is that we kind of just like destroyed that challenge and it was a lot of fun just to like kind of go in. And that's also the challenge where I found my clue, and I found my clue for my idol, like kind of someone else knocked over a bucket and it was just sitting there. I don't even know how long it was sitting there for. Like I didn't see the bucket get knocked over. I just looked over and saw like a piece of parchment, and I walked over and got it, and I thought for sure someone would see me, but no one did. So that was a lot of fun. I'd say that was probably my favorite like individual thing during the season, because it was one of the only times that I felt like I was doing really well. So yeah, that's
talking
my, like,
about
overall.
Graduating in 19. Ben, there's me, you, Kevin, Zane, and Allison.
What a squad.
Throwback.
You're making me emo. Yeah, so that's my like overall favorite, and then my like season 3 favorite experience.
I found the superlatives.
Only read the fun ones. Mine was like, I feel like not exciting.
Thing is,
Was yours something about like being president, Juliana?
I think mine was most likely to wear sunglasses while it was during a shady challenge.
Ben's was most likely to take a CEO's job by saying, "This is my job now." Real.
Why? I don't know. That's weird. I love it though.
I just think it's your attitude. You could totally just take a CEO's job.
Okay, cool.
Carron's, yours was most likely to accidentally talk himself into a double parking ticket. Let's see if there's any good ones in here. Greg's was most likely to be outlasted by his number 1 female ally. Which, yeah. Hannah's most likely to make everyone stay up past their bedtime.
Oh, that's because she had like theater club or something, or her plays or whatever, so late every single night. Yeah.
You could tell in some of the because like the last couple challenges and tribals, I was in shows and you could tell I was wearing stage makeup and my hair was like out to here. Yeah.
Jamie's was most likely to never shut up while Greg explains a challenge. For some reason, this doesn't have an ability for me to click. Yeah, Juliana, yours was most likely to wear sunglasses during a challenge taking place entirely in the shade. Kevin, yours was most likely to have no idea what's going on. Which, yeah, unfortunate. Mel's was most likely to somehow make getting trashed at Bulls into a big move. Rachel's yours was most likely to dunk on you and vote you out immediately after. And I think that's everyone that was here.
Greg, in the summer season, did you also get outlasted by your #1 female ally? I can't remember.
I mean, I think you were my #1 female ally.
Yeah,
so,
it's like
it was you and Ryan because Zach started.
I
Being
couldn't
a little
remember
snake.
if we had. Yeah.
Oh,
Zach was
we
being
did.
a
We had
snake.
Perko, and she got farther than me too. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot Perko was in on that.
She wouldn't have if you just listened to me.
Well, bummer.
Well, bummer.
Sorry, guys. love Perko. And that's why I was voted out second in that mini, actually. It was just Perko's revenge. And you know what? That was valid of her.
My favorite moment, speaking of the party, I think that was so fun just to kind of like cast off like the stress and like just knowing that it was over was so nice and that you could go back to your regular life and regular routine. I think that was an amazing feeling. Also watching back and seeing like the final tribal was nice to see like when people voted for me, like what they said. Obviously I hadn't seen that, so that was like really nice to see. That was great. Oh, and then final thing I was gonna say, the cast, getting to know the crew was like amazing. Like Zach, you recorded like all of my confessionals, and I just remember like you were like my comfort person because like it's so stressful after a tribal, and I just remember, or like tribal and a challenge, I remember like my goal, I don't know why, but I wanted to record each of them in like a weird spot each time. Like you always came to the bathroom with me or like the dumpster, like I appreciate that. So getting to know the crew, you guys were all amazing people and just like so friendly. Like I really did feel like supported by everyone. So that was really nice.
I sadly had to cut our last confessional together and I wanted to keep it in so bad, but the finale was already so long, but we did it in a bathroom stall. And literally you start out the confessional, you're like so excited about your win, and then you just randomly flush the toilet and you're like, pour one out for the homies. And I wanted to keep it in so bad, but I was like, I have to make this sad cut. But I think I did record, I think you recorded like 2 with Sam because you're like, I'm gonna try and do different people. And I was like, lame. But you always came crawling back because it was just so much fun.
Exactly. I didn't even remember that I did them with Sam. So no offense, love Sam, but
exactly. Exactly. Sam's gonna watch this later and be like, what the hell?
Love you, Sam.
Anyone else have like a favorite moment?
I can go. I have 2 funny moments and then a favorite moment. First funny moment is Mel finding her idol, obviously hammered, in the first cut of it at night, and then she goes back and finds it during the day. I thought that was funny. And then second one is I forgot Taylor broke her foot or whatever, and so seeing her walk in on the little cast, I thought that was funny too. But then overall favorite moment, like just watching it back, like it was so fun just meeting with everybody. Like, I mean, specifically Rachel, just because her and I met so much and we're just always on the same page. Like, just so fun reminiscing and being like, oh, I remember hunting for an idol there and talking to this person there. And like the Jenna vote, Rachel and I lived in that university hall basement for like 8 hours, and Hannah would come in, and then Mel would come in, and then Kevin would come in, and then they'd all come in and everybody would leave. It was stressful, but it was a lot of fun.
I will say on Mel's idol play, it was definitely after, or the idol being found was definitely after an STC party, and we went to Bulls after. And then that's, I think, what triggered Mel's idol find, because she was like, Bulls and Bulls. I remember you were like, let's go to Bulls Hall, which is like by the Numbers Garden. And I was like, uh-oh. So I think you did find it originally when you were drunk. Queen. Bulls and Mel. Name a better STC duo. I don't know.
Zack and Union.
Oh. Me and Zandy. Oh my God.
Zack, also with you in the summer season when we were both looking for an idol together for like an hour and a half, and I had to stand on top of it for like 25 minutes while you called Haley.
That was nasty. And the funniest part of that is that it never crossed my mind that you just grabbed it in secret. I was like, no, Haley must not have put it here. Like, there's just no way.
I stood on top of it for literally 25 minutes while you were on the phone because you were standing right in front of me and it was right under my foot.
That was fun.
Also very specific, but when the table broke when we tried to do that one game at beer, I don't know what game it was.
Bailey's Bees.
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Kimberly Roberts has the video as well. If anyone wants to see it, it is hilarious.
That'll make the season 5 edit.
My favorite moment, well, I had a lot of favorite moments, but like that got me excited about the game and like really like just so excited for every week was the Vinny vote, like starting that off, like the game was just crazy. But then really like the most like happy and like emotional I feel like was waking up on the final challenge day and realizing Hannah and I both made it. It's like, I cannot believe this happened.
Yeah, I have a couple too. The first thing that comes to mind was that challenge was the only challenge that Teratibu ever won, like the balancing one with the blocks. And when we won, it was just like this feeling of relief because we had just been like in the thick of it the last 2 months or the last 2 weeks. And that was just so exciting because we just never had that victory before. And then and then I agree with like Greg with just like meeting people and kind of running around and always being like scurrying around like little squirrels and trying to come up with all these plans. Like I don't know if I realized it was fun in the moment, but like looking back, it was just like so much fun to care so much about something that no one else really knew about, I guess. And like the relationship I had with Mel and how we would always just bounce ideas off of each other was really fun.
I feel like the crew, you guys really made a great community, and it's really is like a community. And I think that is my biggest regret is that I did it my senior year. So I wasn't able to be on crew or do anything else with you guys. And yeah, that was the first time I saw a peek into like, oh wow, other people like Survivor. It's not just me, my mom, my sister for all these years. Like there's some underground warriors over here going nuts on Survivor. So that was kind of cool to see for the first time.
All right. If there's no one else that has anything to say, is there any like final like questions that you have for each other, comments, thoughts before we end the live stream?
Was there any questions for Rachel? Because she wasn't here when we went through that initially. She was gone.
I asked hers like before she left.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if there's anything that Rachel.
Never mind.
Talk like.
Thanks, buddy. Don't worry.
I got you, homie.
Is there anything that you want to talk about, Rachel? We talked about pretty much everything, I feel like.
Nah, I just came on here to see you guys. It was fun listening to you all. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't talk about this 2 hours. You all, but it was me here for some snippets. Was that a sad way to go? I love you guys. It was nice to talk to you.
You cut out. You cut out for like the
Holy shit. I'm like, everyone just went quiet.
We got the gist, I think. All right,
okay. I propose. I think we should have spring game next year. I think we should do a Columbus meetup for whoever is available. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's
Yeah.
actually me and Greg Friedberg actually talked about having a STC reunion for the Michigan game. Obviously, it's like not going to happen at this point; it's too far out. But maybe we should plan for the spring game and have a reunion and get like people from 1 through 3 together and drink and play and party. I'll start putting out feelers. It could be a lot of fun.
Thanks. That's it for me.
I had one more question that I thought maybe like viewers might want to know. And it's kind of just for everybody. I'm curious if there was one person that you really wish that you could have worked with but never did, who would that have been? If anyone feels like comfortable sharing that.
Benjamin.
Ben.
Yeah, Jenna ruined my Ben connection.
I'm feeling very flattered. Wow. Yeah, I mean, during the game, as we already covered, Mel, but I mean, still Mel, but at this point in time, like Hannah Woods is, Hannah and I still talk. I love Hannah. That would have been magical. Like really everyone here, pretty much. I wish I had worked with Juliana more. I said that. I kind of did work with Greg and Rachel, but that kind of got thwarted by the swap and my like inability to fathom talking across tribal lines. But something that I don't know if this was in it because I didn't watch it, but Rachel, Mel, and I all like interviewed together, and in my interview we had to say like words that described us, and I described myself as manipulative. And I remember this very vividly, like day one after kickoff, Rachel and I walked home together because I wanted to work with her. I think we wanted to work with each other. And the first thing she says to me is, "Hey, Mr. Manipulative." And I was like, God damn it. I thought no one would remember that. And I thought from there that I was screwed, but I really loved working with Rachel for the time that we had. And I wish it could have gone longer, but
I had to be honest with you. I don't want you to have that like bubble inside, you know? At least got it on the table and then we were friends.
It was, yeah.
So basically what I've gotten from this reunion, if it wasn't for Jenna, Ben would be STC 3 winner.
Yeah, I would have liked to work with. Yeah, Ben would have won. Yeah, I would have liked to work with Kevin, but that got messed up almost immediately. Because I felt like we could have been a good like under the radar sort of duo, especially because people thought that him and Nora were tight, and then me and Jenna or Rachel or Ben or whoever it was just the 4 at that point. So I felt like that could have been pretty cool, and we got along super well after the season ended. But
yeah, we did. Yeah.
It just obviously didn't work out after like season or week 3, and then it just never came back around. But he probably would have been the one.
I would say Greg. I really wish I played the Nora vote better. I think that could have really helped my relationship with Greg during the season. And also I would say Luke from Teratibu. I actually liked working with him for that 1 week. We were on the same tribe together. Unfortunately, I had to vote him off, but he was actually a cool dude. I liked working with him. He was pretty nice to talk to. So sad he got voted off. If I knew he had an idol, I would have told him to play it, but by the way, but he didn't tell me he had an idol, so that's his fault.
Carron, who would have been yours?
I've got 2 people in mind. One, Kevin, for sure. I wish that I had gotten a chance to play with him in summer season 3.5, but he did get voted out first.
Yeah.
And the second, and this is just from the perspective of watching the show, was Hannah. Just because I thought that watching her confessionals was like actually like the most entertaining, that she felt really passionate about making them. So I thought maybe and I mean, I'm not sure if Hannah and I have ever said a word to each other, honestly, in person. So shoulda, coulda, woulda, but yeah, those are the 2 people that I had the most fun watching.
We have very fun alternate timeline.
The Carron, Hannah, Kevin trio.
That'd be interesting.
Unstoppable, to be honest. All right. Anyone else have any final thoughts? No? Okay. Well, thank you guys all for coming back 5 years later. I'm actually so happy that half of you guys came back and decided to be a part of this live stream in any capacity at all. So thank you guys so much for giving us this random Monday night to come on and chat about a little part of our history. To the viewers who are watching, thank you for supporting the project. I know we had a lot of people who were consistently watching and leaving comments. We appreciate the support and the viewership, and I hope you enjoyed season 3 as much as we did. And in terms of STC's future, season 5 could be coming in the next year if Mr. Baldwin keeps working on it like he has been. Season 7 could be coming. I've watched some footage. Will I actually do it? I don't know. It's a lot of work, but it could happen. So keep an eye on our channel, keep an eye on our socials, and thank you all for watching. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good to see you.